This is working. Recording for 10 seconds. Stream is started. Got 1080p. Let me check the audio video sync here. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks good to me. All right. I'm waiting to see on the event sub stuff that I made in my spare time if it's actually going to get the stream online notification or not. It hasn't gotten it yet. Is that good or bad? Oh, it just got it. Okay, so I guess we're live. So that was a delay of maybe what? Almost a minute before event sub told me that my stream was online. Okay. Well, welcome to Advent of Code 2021, Day 2. We're staring at my Day 1, Part 2 solution. I have a little bit of time to kill, and I guess I should, hold on. I should check to make sure that I let people know who might be on Discord, so let me send that off right now. I'm starting up the stream for Advent of Code Day 2. Put the link in there. All right. Okay, cool. So I got 26 minutes to spare. I guess I can get warmed up by trying a 2016 puzzle like I did yesterday. We can do that. Actually, I found out where the link is on this page. So it's here, and then 2016. Hey there, Red Rampage Crumpet. Yeah, so I have 25 minutes before I've been at Code Day 2, so I'm going to get warmed up by trying a previous year's puzzle. So anyone who comes in now, let me give you a brief introduction. Advent of Code. It's a little challenge where every year you get 2 different puzzles each day from December 1st to December 25th, kind of like the Advent calendar, and they're like usually Christmas themed, and you can solve the puzzles in any programming language, but you usually do need a computer to solve them. And usually you get a single string as the answer, and everyone gets a different puzzle input, so you can't cheat by taking someone else's puzzle answer and putting it in for your own. You have to actually have a program to compute the answer. Hey there, Sarian. I know, it's a Raimu stream. Advent of Code. This is my solution to yesterday's puzzle with extreme function chaining. And I took the time to talk about each step. And we even went into like variations of it. But anyway, I have like 25 minutes before the puzzle's open. I should go back. So it unlocks 2 puzzles at exactly midnight Eastern time. So that's in 24 minutes and 7 seconds or so. And so we can't see what puzzle 2 is yet until that time arrives. So in the meantime, while I'm waiting, I'm going back to previous years where you can always go back all the way back to 2015 where it first started and just try out any of these puzzles. Of course, we can't get on the leaderboard of anything here because it's years gone, but we can at least have fun playing around with the puzzles while we're waiting. Hey there, A Squared. Your solution was effectively the same, though you used an array windows. Yeah. I don't know if you were here yesterday, but someone mentioned array windows, and I looked it up, and it was unstable, and I'm like, I'm not going to use unstable today. Hey there, C17R. Hey there, Lazy Guru. Welcome, everybody. So I'm going to get warmed up here. TS Just, how are you? Hey there, Pick. How are you doing? Glad this is not included in the company gag order. That's true. I actually got the company to specifically approve me working on Advent of Code. So, I have pushed into 2016 here a copy of the overall app structure that I'm going to use for 2021 because I figure we'll be hanging out here working on old puzzles until right before the new puzzle unlocks, just to get warmed up. So I'm going to go ahead and copy day 2 from 2016 to day 3. And in main, we're going to add day 3 like this. And then let me just verify that this works. 2016 cargo, it's not going to work, is it? Because I have not exported them correctly from here. Now it should work. As long as I say 3 there. And I have to say mod day. There's always one more thing that I forget. Okay, run 3-1. Okay, so let's clear out all this stuff. And clear this out too. Just so that it'll compile, we'll say to do. You're working on a 2020 puzzle, and for the life of you couldn't figure out why your code worked on the test samples, but not sure whether you realized you were loading the wrong day's input. It happens to everybody. We got the you remembered, TS Josh. You remembered that special stream parody mode. Hey there, Meme Clear Bams. How are you doing? Okay, so previous year, I'm just getting warmed up for day 2 of this year, which unlocks in about 20 minutes. Okay, so we did day 1 and day 2. Day 3. Now that you can think clearly, you move deeper into the labyrinth of hallways and office furniture that...
I'm not sure I understand.
Siri thinks I'm talking to her again. Makes up this part of the Easter Bunny headquarters. This must be a graphic design department. The walls are covered in specifications for triangles. Or are they? The design document gives the side lengths of each triangle it describes, but 5, 10, 25? Some of those aren't triangles. You can't help but mark the impossible ones. In a valid triangle, the sum of any two sides must be larger than the remaining side. For example, the triangle given above is impossible because 5 plus 10 is not larger than 25. In your puzzle input, how many of the listed triangles are possible? Is that true, though? The sum of any two sides must be larger than the remaining side? Yeah, because of geometry, right? So they only gave us one example, so I guess we'll do the same. They say how many, but they only gave us one, so our test is going to be just 0, right? Like that. I wish that it had given me an example where we had more than one. I guess we could invent one. Let's have like 1, and we'll put a possible triangle after the impossible one. 5, 10, and then 14. 3, 4, 5. What was the rule again? The sum must be larger. Okay, so yeah, so we can do 3, 4, 5. That means there are going to be 2 possible triangles, right? Okay, so let's do this. It's going to be input, lines, trim. Actually, I can just break it up first, right? Split white space. What is it again? I guess it would be map. Split ASCII white space and trim. And then I think we gotta consider all 3, like 1, 2, 1, 3, and 2, 3, right? So what's a quick way to, if we know that, or if we expect that there are going to be 3 of these, I guess we'll just collect them. Hold on. This is inside of this, actually. We're going to evaluate whether or not it's a possible triangle, and in the end we're going to count, and then we're going to convert it to a string, and that's going to be our answer, right? So, to split... Oh, right, so yeah, this is an inner map. because I want to trim it and then I want to parse it. Is this how we do it? I always can't remember this way, so I usually just do it this way, right? Length dot parse I64 unwrap, because we're not going to worry about numbers, and we'll let lengths, this is going to collect into a vector. Add, okay, well, I don't want it to get confused. Why does this not work? Found map. Yeah, line, split ASCII white space, then, oh, I forgot another dot. That's what it is. There we go. String parse I64. Yeah, but I also want to do the unwrap. We can't do both of, we can't pass two functions. So this is, you're right. If I just wanted to do that, I could have done string parse and then the turbofish. And I can never remember that. But in my mind, I'm like, I'll do it this way because I also want to tag on the unwrap. Okay, anyway, so this will be a vector, should be a size 3, but I don't think I'm going to actually check. I'll say, if, we'll just do brute force here. If lengths 0 plus lengths 1 is less than or equal to lengths 2, or basically all three combinations here. 1 plus 2 is 0 and 2 and 1, right? Then, oh, I meant to say filter map. And this, I should reverse it, right? And then I can remove the if. We want to count it if in all cases they're greater than, right? Okay. Oh, what did I do wrong? Wait. Expected an option. Oh, I just want filter then. All right, let's see if I got it right. Got 15 minutes before today's thing starts. Okay, one of them's wrong because it actually counted 3 valid ones. Oh, these all need to be and, not or. Yeah. All right, try again. Okay, cool. So then what's my real puzzle input? All of these. So let's make a new file called 3.txt. Paste it in there. This is going to read in 3.txt. And then cargo run 3.1. Actually, it's already in my buffer. 862. Submit. Gold star. Just happen to know the 3, 4, 5 is a triangle, so it's a useful test case. That's true. Strictly greater, yep. Okay, we got it. How much time do I have on today's? 13 minutes, all right. We do part 2. Now that you've helpfully marked up their design documents, it occurs to you that triangles are specified in groups of 3 vertically. Each set of 3 numbers in a column specifies a triangle. Rows are unrelated. For example, given the following specification, numbers with the same hundreds digit will be part of the same triangle. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, okay, 6 triangles. All right. Instead, in your puzzle input, instead reading by columns, how many listed triangles are possible? Okay, so they didn't give us an example, so I can't make a test specification. I guess I could use this example, and we could figure out how many of them are valid. In this case, they're all valid, right? So we'll have to make one that's invalid. Is it Alt-click? Yes, it is. Actually, we reasoned out that We could just leave it like that, right? Is this what I ended up doing? I think so. We can just leave in the new lines. You could use the same 3 triangles and make them columns. True. Do we just want to do that? It'd be easier, I guess. Okay, you convinced me. We'll do it that way. Okay, so to make them columns, I can get rid of that. 5, 10, 3. No, 25. And then the middle one is 5, 10, 14. And the one on the right is 3, 4, 5. Right? 5, 10, 25, 5, 10, 14, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so then it's also 2. All right. So could I just start with what I had and augment it? Let's see what I can do. So what we want to really do is collect 3 lines at a time, right? How do we take them into groups of 3? What method would that be? Is it like a partition? Is that the name? No, but partition is not it. You would think that this would be a common thing to do, taking a sequence and then give me groups of 3. I guess we could just simply loop and take 3 at a time with take, iterator take. Could we just loop with a take 3? Yeah, I can't think of any better thing. So, we still want to do lines, right? So let's just name these things. Lines iter. There's our line iterator. Then we're going to just say loop for no better reason than we don't know what our condition is yet. And then we'll say I guess we'll just test the first one. Actually, it's okay to if you get to the end of the iterator and you get a none, is it okay to get it again? You'll get none again. So that would be what is next. Can we call next twice? It says it returns it when the iteration is finished. Does that mean you can keep calling it? I know with streams that's not always stable, right? So for our iterators, it's okay. So we can just say if let sum L1 sum L2 sum L3 equal let's just I guess I can just do copy paste lines iter next next. That means we got 3 lines, and then just go left to right, right? So we're going to want to reduce them into columns. So there's got to be a better way to do this. All the standard and for loops desugar to while let sum next, which stops on the first none. Yeah. How much time do I have? 8 minutes? I might not finish this in time because I can't think of the elegant solution. I can only think of the brute force, which is to separately expand these. It's just this stuff, right? Split, ASCII white space, trim, map, and collect, right? I guess we can refactor that into a function and call it extract columns. Call this line. Yeah, I don't like copy paste. It smells. There should be a way to do this more generically. And then I guess we'll just assume they're all equal length. And actually, I don't need to. I can just, again, I can do a while. Let's just have like a count, mute n, and we'll just at the end, we'll return n to string. This is all old code. I'm not quite ready to part with it. How much time do I have? A little, like 6 minutes? Yeah, this needs to be declared mutable. Okay, so it's, I guess we'll turn each of these into an iterator. Which means I really didn't need to collect, did I? I can say impl iter item equals i64 and not collect, right? Is it standard iter? No, what is it? Iterator? Plus implicit lifetime. This is where I'm going to get myself in trouble because I'm not a pro with lifetimes yet. Yep. I'm with the a squared. So then I don't need to do iter. They're already iterators. And then I can just say, well, L1, L2, L3 again. These all need to be mutable now. So let's name this something else so I don't get confused. This is column 1, column 2, column 3, right? Right, and then I can apply this logic here. If this, only instead of lengths, well, instead of lengths 0, it's C1. Instead of lengths 1, it's C2. Instead of lengths 2, it's C3. And then this is n plus equals 1. I think that's what we want. What is it not like about this? Unreachable. All right, we need to say else break, which means that this just becomes a while. And what did it not like about that? Did I get it really confused? Is there no such thing as a whilelet? Do I have not enough braces? I do have not. I have too many braces. There we go. All right. I think I did it, but let's see. Yep. Okay. So then with our actual input, what is it? 1,577. With 3 minutes to spare if I got this right. Yes. All right. So there we go. We've done our practice, and I can now like meditate for 3.5 minutes. Or I guess just clean this up, right? I left some artifacts here and maybe contemplate how this might be improved. I really don't like this repetition. There's got to be a way around that. I can't think of it though. Yeah. I'll think about that later. Same thing. Well, we need that core routine. I guess I could extract that core routine out of this. Return an array of the 3 elements rather than an iterator. I just did that because it's kind of cool not to need to copy or allocate memory, right? So this is, whoops, this is extracting them in place. In fact, this all is extracting them in place, right? I think all the way down the line, these are all borrowed slices of the input, which is kind of cool. At T-minus 12 minutes, the dog started asking to go outside. Oh no! C17R, quick! You have 2 minutes to get the dog to do his business. Then you can pattern match out the array elements on the function call. That's cooler than pattern matching. Can we? I'm kind of doing the pattern matching when I do this kind of trick, right? What I'd really like to find out is, is there a way to make n generic? Right now, n being 3. Is there a way to make this generic? There probably is. I'm just not smart enough. Okay, we're good? All right, because C17R is better than I am at this. We'll probably get the solution faster than me. All right, I think we'll just call this for now. I have enough time to, I guess, just check it in. I have a minute and a half. So let me just add all that. Git commit. And I'll say add 2016 day 3 solution. All right, and then let's get set on the right page. All right, 1 minute and 22 seconds. Enough time to get some administrative stuff out of the way. So let's copy day 1 to day 2. Let's go to main and copy paste that. And make that say 2 and that say 2. And lib, we need a mod day 2, and we need this. Okay, less than a minute. And then I need to export them as P2. Okay, so then go to the right directory, cargo run day 2.1. Okay, should I clear out the old code? Let's clear out the old code and say to do. 30 seconds. This was so beautiful. I hate deleting this. All right. Now we just set the timer, 20 seconds. Take a big breath. Take a breather. Once again, we're doing Advent of Code. Programming puzzles, 2 a day. Each day, December 1st to 25th. Christmas themed. Use any programming language you like. Everyone gets different puzzle input, so can't cheat that way by just taking someone else's answers. Here we go. Now you need to figure out how to pilot this thing. It seems like the submarine can take a series of commands like forward 1, down 2, up 3. Forward X increases the position, down increases the depth, up decreases the depth. So we can't go back, we can only go forward. Note that since you're on a submarine, down and up reflect your depth, and so they have the opposite of what you might expect. It's nice that they gave us that tip. Submarine seems to already have a planned course. You should probably figure out where it's going. For example, this being our test input. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that right in there. Your horizontal position depth start out at 0. Steps above will modify them as blah, blah, blah. After this, you'll be at a horizontal position of 5, depth of 10. Multiplying gives 150. All right. So there's our test. Calculate the horizontal position and depth you would have after following the planned course. What do you give me multiply your horizontal by your depth? Okay, good. And then they both start at 0? Yeah, okay. It's cool. So I'll just do this without thinking much about it. So horizontal and depth 0, and then I'll just do this with a for loop. For line in input lines, we want to trim and then break, so let calls equal input.trim dot split on white space. Okay, and then let command equal calls next, and then let actually we can do this with pattern matching, right? And I won't be fancy right now. So let what is the second number? I guess amount or something. Calls next parse I64 unwrap. Match command as a string. Actually, they're already strings. What am I doing? If it's forward, do something. Down and up, right? So forward is horizontal plus equal amount. Down is depth plus equal amount. Up is depth minus equal amount. And it's probably going to be a trick where you can't go above 0 or something like that, right? Part 1 is done. You're fast, man. I'm almost done, I think, because we just at the end we return horizontal times depth as a string, right? Well, as owned. Oh, no, toString. And what did it not like about this matching? I got an option for that? Oh yeah, we got to unwrap that. We also have to unwrap this. And no semicolon. And columns needs to be mutable. And instead of input, we want line. Command, command, command. Oh, we need all the others. Panic. Bad input. All right, so running our test. Make sure we pass. We pass, so then what's our input? Get my puzzle input. This is going to be a new file called 2.txt. Paste the instructions in. Read from 2. Cargo run to 1. What do we get? We get that big number. Put the big number in. Yes! We did that in 4 minutes and 27 seconds. On to part 2. Based on your calculations, the plan course doesn't seem to make any sense. You find the submarine manual, discover that the process is actually significantly more complicated. In addition to horizontal position depth, you also need to track a third value, aim, which also starts at 0. The commands also mean something entirely different than what you first thought. Down increases your aim by x units. Up decreases your aim. Forward does 2 things. It increases your horizontal position and increases your depth by aim multiplied by x. Got it. Again, note, since you're on a submarine, down, up, do the opposite things. Is this the same input? Forward 5? Down 5, forward. Okay, so it is. So I can just kind of cheat and copy test 1 to test 2 and change the expected answer to 900. All right, and then we're going to just copy part 1 to part 2 and modify it. Okay, so then aim starts at 0. All right. Let mute aim equals 0. Part 2, you're fast, TS Just. Are you talking about you, or are you talking about the speedrunners that you know? Okay, so horizontal, but then depth is aim times amount, right? And then depth, aiming down increases, up increases, and go. I failed. What's the answer actually need to be? Okay, so then what did I do wrong? What did I misinterpret here? Oh, I didn't no, I did. Down adds to aim. Depth increases by aim times... I thought I did it right then. You misunderstood an important part. Probably I'm misinterpreting some... C17R, congratulations! I'm probably misinterpreting some part too, right? Because I thought I did it. Horizontal increases by amount. Depth increases by aim times amount. Down is increasing aim. Up is decreasing aim. It's already capped. Yeah, I'm not getting any points. So C17R, did you get on the leaderboard? You got on the leaderboard a few times a couple years ago, right? Final horizontal by the final depth. Okay, what did I get? I got 150. Oh, wait. I did something stupid. I didn't put a 2 there. All right. Probably had the answer all along. I'm like, duh, running the wrong one. Okay, here's the number. There we go. I lost about a minute thinking that my code was wrong because I had a 1 here. I had a 1 there instead of a 2. I had the answer all along. Okay, so how did I do on my times? Do I just go to stats? Stats isn't the right one. What do I go to see my own stats? Leaderboard, and then my personal stats. There we go. So there's my rankings. Oh, I improved. I got 110 better in my rank. Leaderboard and then stats, yeah. Interesting. So probably because I didn't have to really tweak much from part 1 to part 2, I got ahead of a bunch of other people. So probably a bunch of people were faster than me for part 1, but then they had to rework their part 2 solution a bit. You misinterpreted the new instructions. You were changing depth on down up as well as changing the aim. I would have maybe gotten them backwards, but except for I think that's why they were giving all those hints about, or does it say that? They say note, and then they said it again. Again, note. They really didn't want people to get stuck on that, I guess. Because it is backwards. Down increases, up decreases. But then, like, yeah, I don't know. That's where I would expect, if they didn't have the note, that's where I expect a lot of people to screw up. But with the note, no. Right. But I'm surprised that they didn't say, like, on part 1, they could have put in a rule that you can't go above 0. Right? Because that doesn't make sense either. So if you go up, they should, to make this harder, they should have had you check for 0, hitting that bound. Because otherwise you could go a negative depth. And the same thing here, right? If you aim up, in fact, this one would be more complicated. You could aim up, but then your depth can't go above 0. So they could have made it a little harder. All right, so what to do now? I guess look at the leaderboard. I want to see how fast people did day 2. 50 seconds? Wow. How do people do this in 50 seconds? I don't know. Actually, I think I do know how. Like I was saying yesterday, I think it's that they just have pre-written sections of code, and it's all about figuring out what the problem, which things to pick from their pre-made solutions in what order, and then hook them together and go. And they probably have something to automatically get the input and the output sent back. So where's our friend? The guy who's always, guy or gal, actually, I don't know, who's always first. I don't see them in the list today. Maybe they, remember day 1? Yeah, Bataveros. Bataveros is usually in like the top 10, right? It was, okay, 27th, but was number 1 on day 1 for part 1. Where's Bataveros? Okay, number 4. What about part 1? 12. Okay, not bad. Not bad. I don't recognize anyone else on this list, though. Just Bataveros, I know. Part 2 was easy, sure shock. I got tripped up by... Were you here or were you working on it yourself? I got tripped up by doing that by accident. Facepalm. So I'm like, why does it not work? And really, I was just testing the wrong part. So that's another one, Lazy Guru. The other one that we heard about was AOC Framework? AOC Fixture? I can't remember what the name of it was. But there are a lot of people who have made like automation for downloading input, uploading output, testing, and benchmarking as well. Actually, that's another thing we can do. We can bench this. See how fast my solution is. So I don't think we need to bench part 0. In fact, I could probably delete that now. But let's bench part 1 and 2 of day 2. Now, if I remember right, I can just say bench 2-star. See if I got that right. So I'm using Criterion to run the benchmarks. Okay, I didn't do that right. Do I need a dash there? No. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I guess it doesn't take wildcards. It'd be cool if it did. Benchmarking 2-1. 34 microseconds. It's too bad that we can't compete on program speed, you know? I'd be curious to see like who's got the fastest solution. So 37 microseconds. So why does it say it's regressed? We've never run 2.2 before. It must be some old data that it's comparing with. Should look at off topic and Discord LVM is magic. So as in benchmarking? Okay, I'll have to check that out later. I didn't know how to even use Criterion or do benchmarking using someone else's crate until yesterday or the day before. For last year, I made my own thing and it was maybe not as good as the real ones. I need optimization it knows about, apparently. You mean like evaluating constant expressions so I can maybe get the answer and just know what the answer is? No, I don't want to. Oh, thank you. You beat me to it, TS Josh. You're fast. Thank you. I was going to say, no, I don't want to become famous. Can do sum of powers formulas instead of loops of powers. But does that make it slower? No. Actually, it's gotten faster over time, right? Okay, how to improve on this? So TSJS, I was thinking like, rather than adding blocked term, I could have my the bot I used to have would auto ban them like immediately. But my Rust bot, haven't written that code yet. But I guess block term is better, since they won't even get banned because they'll try and it won't even say anything. Split once. Forgot what split once does. Splits the string. The first occurrence of the specified delimiter returns the prefix before the delimiter. Oh, so that's if you know you have two things. Oh, yeah, there you go. So then it would just be split once, and then I'd have, do I need to mutate columns? No, I don't even need columns. It's just command and amount, right? And I probably need to unwrap this, right? Is that right? Did I get it right? It needs a delimiter. Yes, there we go. So let's try, make sure I didn't screw up. I did screw up. What did I do wrong? This needs to be parsed. I guess I will just shadow it. Parse I64 unwrap. Yeah, okay. Cool. Yeah, I didn't know about split once, or if I did, I forgot about it. So that's neat. So I can do that same trick down here to make it a little bit better. I could also recognize that there's a lot of common code here, right? And I could refactor this. And I can call it like... I'm bad with words, so it's not exactly parse. I guess we can call it parse line. And then we can just call it again down here. And then we can take this and put it down here. Didn't I have another subroutine? Am I thinking of another day? Oh yeah, that was 2016 day 3. I had a subroutine in here, right? Extract columns. Yeah. I could turn this into an enum and then have the panic be abstracted away. So something like this. We want to play around with types, right? Enum command forward, down, up. And then implement. There's no trait for parse, is there? Parse doesn't come from a trait. So I guess we can just say from. Can you do something like as string, as ref string? Can you do that? For command. Well, let me do that. I'm not sure. I don't think it will. Had to be known at compile time. Yeah. So let's do that. Implement members. Where was my semicolon? Oh, these? Yeah, I'm just used to that. It really has no effect, right? But you're right, I don't really need that. Actually, that's interesting. If I left it in there, Rust formatter insists on keeping it as a block. Taking it out, though, it crunches it down, which is nice. Yeah, this is an old habit from... well, this one we can maybe keep it in there. But yeah, this is an old habit from C++, right? Why did it... Oh, because of that. Am I wrong? Wait a minute, why are we expecting a semicolon? Is that because it's kind of confused here? It didn't fix it for me. I can keep that there. You saw it, Siri, and that's because you're like unbiased, whereas I'm C++ biased. Technically changes the return value. Well... You mean the return value of the match? But then since that's the last value, and does the for loop actually out of curiosity, if this did evaluate to something that wasn't unit, would the overall for loop get that value for the last loop or not? I don't know. For loop also returns a value. Is it the value of the expression last in the loop? Because that would be kind of convenient, wouldn't it? But to tell you the truth, whenever I use for, I'm really not interested in evaluating a direct value. It's usually for the side effect of just consuming the loop variable, really, right? Or just looping for the sake of looping a certain number of times. All right, anyway, so here's where we would pull in a bit of our match here. And we would just say command, well, to be hoity-toity, we can use self here, self down, and self up. And then this is command. Okay, and then we would just say match command into, and then it's smart enough if I use command forward, command down, and command up, right? Should be smart enough to get what type I mean, right? Yeah, look at that. unreachable. That's right, it is unreachable. Unreachable. And so we just need this block here. Here. And it's aim instead of depth. Get rid of this. A little bit of improvement. Let's run our tests again. Part 1 passes. Part 2 passes. Need to use break value. So if you fall out of the loop without a break, does it not compile because it requires a break? I don't know. Can we make this even more clean? I could do this with a fold. Would that be better or worse? Let's see what it would look like. So we'll compare before and after. So this is after, or I mean before. Here's after. So here we would just say input lines fold. Initial value is 0, 0. And then we get a line. And we get horizontal and depth. And at the end, it's horizontal and depth. I need to make these mutable. And then how would I take that expression and can you iterate a tuple? One way I can think about doing this is say this. Okay, what did I do wrong with my fold? I don't have the right... Okay, that's what I'm missing. So that'll work, right? But it would be cool if there was a function I could call at the end that takes the two elements in the tuple and multiplies them. Explain why you start learning Rust. Why Rust? Why now? I was using C++ for many years, and I had been streaming for about a year and a half, I think, making a game in C++. And then like not one, but like several different people on several different days said, hey, we think you'd like Rust. You should check out Rust. And I'm like, eventually I relented and I took a look at it. And I'm like, whoa, there's a lot of cool features in this language. And whoa, I could actually write code and not have to worry about concurrency race conditions as much, threading as much. So it turns out a lot of the bugs that I would end up putting into my C++ code are really hard to get in Rust's code as long as you can get it to compile. So started learning Rust because people recommended it to me. Why Rust is because once you get past the hurdle of getting your mind in the understanding how to put your thoughts into Rust code, there's a lot less debugging. I mean, you could see when I was running it, most of the time was be spent constructing the code. Once I got it, usually I just ran it and it would work, and that's been my experience with Rust overall. The bugs that make it through are the ones that the compile time checks don't catch because they don't know the actual meaning of your data. But a lot of the annoying bugs are like race conditions, memory leaks, going past the end of a buffer, all that stuff Rust is pretty good at helping you catch. And then why now, I guess goes along with why did I start? It was just because people told me to check it out. But I would say Rust isn't the only language that has these properties. Swift also has a lot of these same properties, and it's from what I've heard, languages like Go and what was it? OCaml and Haskell all have some or all of the same properties, and even C++ is getting a lot of the compile time checking and assertions that can help make your code better. But I don't know. So it's something about how elegant I found the language when I was learning it. and how hard it was, and I like a challenge. All that just kind of gave me a lot of positive vibe, and I'm sticking with that because it's just fun. So which one of these looks better? It's kind of, the fold always looks a little gross to me, the way it starts. And having to collect them and multiply them later, we had to multiply them later before, but having to mention, well, we have to mention it again. It's really just to reorganize these two lines into these two. I actually kind of like this better because it's clear, the beginning is more clear, whereas this line is kind of hard to read. But I guess I could go either way, but I'm going to stick with this, with the non-fold solution, because I think it looks nicer. Check it out too. Isn't compile time too long with all this check? It used to be really long, but it's gotten a lot better. What about libraries in Rust? There are tons of libraries in Rust. In fact, that's one of the strong points. I really hated in C++ that you couldn't just go out to a repository somewhere and get a solution already packed. Like you want to do SSL in C++, you can get OpenSSL, but then you have to figure out how to build it, and everyone has usually a slightly different build system. But languages like Go and Rust and JavaScript these days, they all have either integrated with the language or a strong community backing, like de facto standard package manager. I know that they're starting to come out with package managers like in Windows, and there's Brew and stuff like that for at least apps, if not also libraries in other in traditional languages. But the fact that it's kind of like day one Rust had it was really a powerful thing for me. So you can go to like, I like lib.rs, and you can type something like, what do you want to find? How about Bitcoin? Boom, you got like 4 different Bitcoin libraries that you can pick from. There's the general purpose library using and interoperating with Bitcoin. So what was the other thing? Raft, right? I was using the Raft algorithm. Look, we got like 4 or 5 different Raft libraries. And to use a library is super easy. You just go to your, basically the metadata for your project, and you list under dependencies or dev dependencies, depending on if your main code depends on it or just your test code. You just say the other library and then what version of it. And then it automatically goes to the online registry that everyone uses. And you can have custom registries if you add some more metadata here and such. It automatically downloads it, builds it, and links with it. And you don't have to do anything. We don't have to make a build system. It's all kind of automatic. So it's really neat. There's cargo add to add dependencies too. Yeah, I like to hand edit this, but you're right. You can even automate this file and never touch it. You can on the command line say, I want Bitcoin, and it'll add the Bitcoin dependency. And then to use them, you just say, you can just use them directly. You don't even need these use statements, right? For example, actually this is not a good example. Like in my main here, I said use the anyhow thing, right? Without that, it doesn't know what anyhow is, but I could prefix that, and now it does. Because the tooling behind Rust links your metadata into the namespaces that the compiler is aware of. So just saying that you have a dependency, now all the namespaces from that dependency become available to the compiler directly, and you don't have to say import or use if you don't want to. Like the use in Rust is really just a way to collapse the namespaces. It's like the using namespace in C++, but like you don't have to do an import. There's no header files. What was it in C# you had to do? You had to do like a namespace reference or a assembly reference. You don't need to do any of that, which is really cool, I think. There's another thing that's better than it used to be. For example, you used to have to write. Yeah, so Cowbreeze is right. Rust started out kind of rough, but it's gotten more and more refined, and I didn't start learning it until a year ago, and it's already gotten pretty refined. It's still getting better and better. There were a few things that like I thought were kind of funny that had to do with arrays, and you had to like get references to arrays, and that stuff's been all cleaned up now, which is nice. The only function use has besides names is to bring in traits. That's true. So that's one little weird thing, like this benchmark stuff. The awareness of, I think some of this stuff has to do with using, actually this, I don't know criterion well enough, but what's a good example of that? I don't have one ready, but like when you're working with streams and you want to like iterate through a stream and get all the events in a stream, the function to do that is for each, and it's not available unless you do a use on the stream extension module, and then that kind of automatically pulls in these auxiliary functions that go with it. So that's maybe the only weird thing. But the cool thing is that when you need to do it, usually the compiler will tell you. So like if I forgot to do that, it will say, I don't know what string opt is, but you can consider importing this derive macro. It tells me what to do. Isn't that cool? That's another cool thing about Rust that I like. If I make a mistake, it will generally give me a hint about what I did wrong, right? Oh, maybe you meant to use exclamation mark to invoke the print line macro. Yes, I did. I did mean to do that. Thank you very much, Rust. From string is a good example. The compiler will have to, yeah, it'll have the help is pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, and the IDE, it's not just, I like VS Code. I know a lot of people don't like VS Code. They like Vim instead or something else. There are generally really good plugins and integrations with your favorite IDE, whether it's VS Code or Vim or CLion or something else. That was a little rough for me when I started, but I settled on, why doesn't it show it here? Oh, I need to scroll. I settled on, I got a lot of plugins installed, don't I? Rust-Analyzer. There's another one called Rust, but this one's pretty good. Another thing that's cool that I haven't been using lately, but if I've been doing it in my YouTube videos because I think it helps, and it's not working again today, so I can't show it. I don't know why, but there's this thing called Inlay Hints where like sometimes it's a little bit unclear what the types of some of these variables are. If you hover over them, it'll tell you, oh, it's an I64, and line here is a borrowed string, right? But sometimes you don't want to hover over everything, and you kind of want to know what the types are. Even though the compiler knows, you kind of also want to know. There's most of these integrations with the IDE have inlay hints, and it'll kind of show you in like a gray text. It'll say like I64, but in gray. I don't know why it's not working for me today, though. Rust Analyzer is the only one you should use. Rust extensions plan to be deprecated. Show that print line error again, but with cargo in the terminal. Oh, better things in the terminal? Okay, yeah, so you're saying, where's that print in the main, right? Remove that print line and then do cargo clippy. I like to do cargo clippy because it's like lint. Yeah, so it says, expected a function, found macro print line, not a function. How come it, oh yeah, help, use exclamation mark. See, even like shows you what you should do graphically with colors. Neato. Very neat. That's the other thing is I ran the command clippy. Check is like, give me your compiler warnings. Clippy is like, give me your compiler warnings and also run a linter. So it's got a built-in linter. I mean, you don't even have to install anything separate for that. Do wish the inlay hints could be displayed at the end of the lines. That would be neat for me. I don't use it because they confuse me. They make me think that I typed it when I didn't. So any idea why inlay hints might be broken for me right now? Because it should definitely be showing them for me, and I don't know why. Maybe my overall workspace is messed up. I do have 2021 as a member. I don't think I need to enable anything here for inlay hints to work, so I should see them, but I don't. I don't know. So there are a few things that are broken from time to time. I don't let it. So I don't think reloading helps, but we can try it. Like restarting completely. And restart restarts the Rust Analyzer. You can see it kind of chunking through. A couple downsides of these IDE integrations and Rust in general, that indexing is a little slower. Compiling is a little slower, but it's not bad. Okay, we're going to reload completely now. I don't know what's up with the Inlay Hints. Yeah, they're just broken. Maybe it's confused because I also have a CMake list from 2019 when I did it in C++, and it's confused, thinking, oh, there's a bunch of C++ stuff in here. I should not do Inlay Hints. I don't know. Yeah, it's broken. That's okay. I thought that this learning curve was very steep because I was used to C++ for many years, and I think I needed to unlearn a lot of bad habits. So downsides for you could be if you're used to other languages and been using them for years, you have to think about Rust differently because there are concepts in Rust that are completely absent from C++, like the concept of tracking lifetimes, right? The language in C++ doesn't do that at all. You have to do that completely by yourself. In Rust, it's the other way around. Rust, the compiler does it all. You just have to conform. It's not exactly true, but that can really trip people up. Like if you look up online pitfalls or learning curve in Rust, people will say the borrow checker is a pain in the butt. What's the other thing? Oh, the fact that it's so strict. So you can use pointers like in C, C++, but then you have to start annotating everything as unsafe, and then you either have to say, well, my entire project is unsafe, or you have to start compartmentalizing where you use pointers. So that can be a bit of a struggle. Borrow checker is a pain, but you learn how to. But it took me months to learn how I need to be honest, right? It wasn't something I learned right away. It was something that I struggled with, especially when it came to futures, asynchronous programming, async await, like in JavaScript and Python, and also there's a bit of that in C++. So this asynchronous programming Rust, I found really difficult to learn, especially when you combine that with lifetimes, with the concept of that you are borrowing data that you're not owning it, and you're only borrowing it for a specific limited bounds of time. And then how that interacts with asynchronous programming can get really bizarre, because you think of like, oh, this function's only using this value for a short amount of time. But really, the compiler doesn't know how long your task is going to run if it's asynchronous. It could complete now, or it could complete tomorrow, or never. And so what you as a programmer think of in terms of how long you're borrowing a reference for can be totally different if when you throw asynchronous programming into the mix. Yeah, and the concept of pinning is that concept where something is asynchronous, and so you might work on something for a bit and then put it off to the side and then come back and work on it again, and it had better be at the same address, because your state that you included with that work that you put on the shelf for a while, that state had knowledge of the addresses of things. So those addresses can only be valid if you can guarantee that those things don't move when you put it on the shelf and then later when you pick it back up again. And that's what they call pinning. One thing you notice is that when learning Rust is that you understood why the borrow checkers could play, but you internalize the rules to the point that you'd want it wanted the first time. Yeah, like I just overthought it, and I would make assumptions that just weren't correct. What's your view? Will it grow to C++? I think it will. But I think it's going to grow alongside these other modern languages like Go. And I don't think Rust will be alone. I think there'll be a lot of modern languages that will supplant the old ones, but it'll take time because there's a lot of old code, and people don't want to get rid of old code when it's risky. I think Rust, Go, Swift, all these new languages have fertile ground when it comes to completely new code bases, or if a team decides that the risk of rewriting something outweighs the security problems, like Firefox is doing, right? So that's where it'll take off. But like entrenched existing code bases, I don't think have anything to fear. Like there's still stuff written in COBOL, right? So that's not going to go anywhere. Is that true? I don't know. Maybe by now it's been rewritten. Rust definitely feels like the most subtle new systems language. Yeah, I'll have to just take your word for it because I haven't evaluated very many other languages. I just know that from what I've heard from other people and read online that Rust isn't the only language that has a lot of these new features. Check out Go and Swift and the other ones. Has this become a just chatting stream? Is COBOL still around? I'm kind of curious. Banks still use it? Yeah. So Melji, if you want to learn Rust, check out my YouTube. Shameless promotion. I have a video series teaching Rust from the ground up, step by step, and I think I'm on week 4 or 5 now. New video every Saturday. Shameless self-promotion. But there's also, hold on. There's also the book. And there's also the learning site. If you just Google search, or let's just do DuckDuckGo, because why not, right? Rust Learn. Learn Rust. What's cool about this site is that it gives you 3 possible paths. Some people like to read books when they learn a language. Some people like to take a little guided tour. Other people like to just jump into the code and see it, learn by example. So you get to like choose your own adventure here, which I really liked. So the way I did it is I jumped into the book, and then later I kind of dabbled around with the examples. I don't think I did the course. And then they have these other ancillary books that you can look at later. So I really like their intro site. The book is pretty decent too. The book is very good, A Square says, yeah. Not unstable yet? Oh, the print line thing? Yeah, someone was telling me that on YouTube, that you could, I could do it this way. I could say P01 like that and not have an argument there. But I think this is going to mark it as, actually maybe that works now. I think someone was telling me that that's new, but I wasn't sure if it was stable or not. If so, then I should maybe start switching to that format if it's stable. Oh, there you go. So we can do this now. We don't have to do this old way. See, I learned before they had that feature stabilized, but now that it's stable, heck, why not, right? Where's my keyboard? There it is. So let's just do this. There we go. No, I did save. Oh, I didn't save. You're right. Shoot. Is it because it's unstable? Will this run if I do nightly? Is it not -- nightly, or it's nightly run, right? Plus nightly? It's one of these things. Okay, so we can't do that yet. It's not a stable feature. So nightly means the very bleeding edge version of the language in the compiler, whereas stable is like guaranteed not to change as much, but it's a little bit old. Could not compile. I still have errors. Oh, you can't call functions? Interesting. So you can't even do this with the new syntax. So then where can I use it then? Probably in my, if I do something like this, let solution equal that. Is this where I can use it? Something like that. No. Oh, I have to, not only is it unstable, but I have to enable a feature. Yeah, so I have to do this in my lib, right? I thought I did that to the crate attributes. Isn't that what I'm doing when I put it in lib? It's stable on night. Oh, I haven't updated nightly? So it's really, really new then. Rust update. So I was on, so the latest is as of now, right, basically. When does it actually tell me what I was on before? Probably at the end it'll say what I had before. So I think the stable, what is the cadence of that? The stable gets updated like once every few months, and then the nightly gets updated almost every night. 6 weeks. There you go. I didn't even talk about Rust FMT. So I was on about almost a month old on my nightly. Okay, so now that we're not... So it's got to rebuild everything. You can actually see how fast or how slow, depending on your perspective, it is to compile. Most of the compile time is, there's one upfront cost when you switch versions or switch your dependencies to build all your dependencies. So, okay, there it works. So can I, do I even need the feature anymore? Okay, don't need the feature. So, can I put this directly in? No. So I still have to evaluate. It has to be a value. It can't be a function call. And it's not on stable. If I just run the default, which for me is stable, it won't like it. Yeah. Okay. Use a stable for checking it. Captures closure. Oh. It captures like closures. So this is not just a value, it also implies a function call, and you can't do something that elaborate there. Why not? I should be able to. So let's just put this back to the way it was, since we can't put that in there. All right. Need to pass an identity, in other words, a name, right? It needs a name, or a binding. Okay, should we kind of close up things? Oh, I was sort of distracted from this. I wanted to clean this up a little bit more, right? Actually, I guess this is pretty good. One thing I haven't really figured out a good sense of is how to sort things. I think tests should be at the bottom. Types should be at the top. But where should the primary things be? At the top or the bottom? Like, part of me thinks that these utilities should go between the types and the primary work of the module. So they should go here. But another way to do it is to put them at the bottom or before the tests. Anyway, debug can do that though. So in debug, I could have, you saying I can do this? Sure, right? Does this work? That shouldn't work. What does that actually do? That probably just prints that as a literal, right? Yeah. But, yeah, you're saying I can do that, sure. Then it'll actually print the value twice. That's what the debug macro does, which is kind of cool. If you're debugging and you just kind of want to see a value, like, I'll show you a better example. Day 2, right, where we were actually doing work. I could, like, do a debug here. Then every time the submarine goes up, we'll see what the amount is. 2, 1. Oh, wrong one. See that? So we see all of the amounts when we go up. So it's really handy for debugging because you can basically wrap that debug macro around anything, and it doesn't change any of the semantics or calculations or anything. It just adds print statements for you. Yeah, it works and evaluates to its arguments. So it's like a decorator pattern, right? Okay, I think it's time for me to wrap things up. Before I go, I'm going to see if anyone else is streaming Advent of Code, and then we can just kind of jump over to another Advent of Code stream. Although I've been going pretty late, and everyone always finishes before I'm done. Yeah, I don't see anybody else going right now. Oops, I closed all my windows. Yeah, so I won't be here tomorrow because I got another commitment. So on Friday, I'll catch up with 2 parts, 2 days, day 3 and 4. So see you guys on Friday for parts 3 and 4. Don't spoil the answer for me for day 3. Take care, everybody. Bye.